aduna ekoi na masi kitang clarify tawbu nungan ba conception da jo khoi da chamam na bam lei ba ai madu why ani khaktai hojage Lok Sabha da 18 December 2018 da question hange be NRC da aina mamangi 17 Lok Sabha minister na khumak pada 1951 da National Register of Citizen NRC within bracket Assam was prepared in 1951 as a non-statutory process. 1951 the TOUGADBNI NRC chair. This is Home Minister now on the floor of the House Kumupani. It is a non-statutory process. Aina TV, the not a public space people, the nang, but the not it's an executive order, right? It doesn't have a statute to do that. Ek leti. Aduna madugi NRC duga. Aina handak Amit Shah the very carefully crafted me. Was our social science if mayam public pavi hobra dikhang jaina rule 377 gi MAKHA the Lok Sabha the race although you are supposed to give in 250 words crux to hire matung the supplementary ibe yae na koi ge senior high ko practice ar nahi tizale so I wrote a 3-page letter elaborating those issues mayam mumta pavi wa yapel aso ngam yaw su sum thopiro aina khangjaba Kari haigani, karamba poina mamang thagani, kama kadai the court kani, karamba wai sinaroi, adumaina one kalaga thagibani. Adugi letter to the sigi non-statutory hibagi post ekoi yantabam changeba. Huzik NRC to watarati. It will be a statutory process. Unlike the NRC of 1951. Because we have a legal frame. 2003, the Citizenship Act 1955, which was derived from Article 11 of the Constitution. Highly, but Citizenship Act 1955 said, amend tawreba matungda neba National Register of Indian Citizens. Same nabagi legal framework pir amneba. So if you do now, it will be a statutory exercise. It will be guided by these statutes and the corresponding legislation. See the distinction, guys. Common people, the lawyers in the Kharakaso Haibi. What is the difference between a legislation and a statute? What is delegated legislation? Akoi the sigi inform mena the ngang the be the pangang pasina. Passed away executive order ga kadai dekhene 371 siga presidential order 1972 gi mari se karinu leinari se kanana authority paigani kaisi aikoi gyan ta da ya anuna inu jaize first thing first distinction ama leire abam dekho ji khangamni na aina mayam da request of the doisi NRC haiba budi NRIC haiba na chungane boju because this is mandated by a statute. Law na tawko process ni ada season of a term never. Kangbum na di amhaya managin masi lawyers sing dai masi ki hapet manaba example na mahaijo hairaga di consequence am chawbo ni definition na akoi na sum pajarak pod law is di in season na baga or season na baga the jail change changoi ngam hain. If two items are being punctuated by or n implication am thinking na A or B have the condition do ama satisfy or we are doing A and B had the animal satisfy or they are kind of where lawyers in can when you say aduna why is season of the careful of changi adaginang na mi seta homicide herati aroi money and NRC get the money higher the subtle implication can homicide culpable amounting to murder not amounting to murder the homicide meaning adun kenani. So when we say NRC, mamangi reference point, a communication strategy that's a clarity. What we are demanding today is part of NRIC for the state of Manipur. And this will be a statutory demand. Masi ako clarify the umsa. Second, the conception is a map of the exercise. Hozik tauge hairagadi. Census haiba mane. NRC aina sumaina yek taragadi ko. Census, NRC, NPR, NRIC na laine bhojik ko. It's a framework to understand. Masigi framework say since I am a trained social science student, they say I second habit to frame a thing. Say facts speaks for itself. I need. Social science the maru in history ki the formula imlay what is history in the mana hai. There's a difference between historical fact and fact of the past. In the past history concepts are very important because the world is seen differently the moment you change the concept. History kill fact past ki fact kene. Second, the man jo argue though. Historical facts they don't speak for itself. We make them speak for ourselves. Hai man. Fact is kashu nate. Bora go mani hai ma. Italian ki novel am de quote ho ne mana de dialogue. Bora se matun lepangam da bani. Cheng hapsalak pa alu tilo hapsalak kan da lep kane. So fact can't stand on its own. Fact requires something else as well. Alumana perspective ka. Perspective of the frame. The cinema number since I'm also into movie making, I can tell you. I couldn't mind talk on the frame man the kaisangali mapanda kari toy the meaning of the frames that don't change. Artha tungan une. I know riot to books the police kid dharna to bogi angang mayam documentary namin and number kandaina. Police na food the sumkul la thamaga in a number ga. Kitang ching to us the ambulance ama thatler ga manu the ambulance gi York mi na pakat na chapayanam to na in the dalong thangela ni do thangelu that moment's meaning will change. So what gets into the frame and what is outside will change the meaning. Court so hainaidana. We don't deal with absolute truth. In the court of law, truth is a contingent truth. It's an evidence-based truth. So the truth doesn't stand on its own. And how you organize your evidences and present it to the court will depend the result of the meaning and its persuasive power. Lawyer and Kangwane has a manabudugi parallel growth of the one in social science. And the facts of Makangaita, they framing them to Changhai, but the concepts are clear is Gihaga, I give more than the two controversies with that. Census Habisina Carino, NRC Haisina Carino, Amadi. National Population Register haisna kaino mari subadana NRIC haisna kaino se akoi clear oi jagadi process sengaro isam chamna senje the census cyber ma khangbi dunga ngasagi mi khangna no honda bi introduce abudina British government na ihan hana mohoina East India Company dagi India se loksala matung dane ba moina control tauna bo honarak pa matam dane ba classifying the terrain and the population lady ba lamam sumi sing se classify taroga masing thiba enumerated horak pa matam du da introduce loksala pa so that is why after British became the ruler from company dagi mohot chala ko na British Raj how say Queen Victoria's proclamation in 1858 Aduga hauraba matung da moina paira kanda never census se control the administer tona ba haurakiba exercise but that's why 1965 1960s northwestern frontier the han haurakanda matang adugi mamang da Bengal is the moina hana dominate taw even in 1830 the city of Dhaka gi the hana enumeration taw but akoina matung da haura we can see the census ki stories the control tona honam the head count or classify taw neba people since and terrain. Adugi nitunani 1860s agi tholene especially 65 onwards. 72 the taure but akoina si the shomu concept synchronic and non-synchronic census size. Mamang the tauriba mayam the non-synchronic ngaktaneva. That means it's not carried out simultaneously. Bombay dina ngasi chahi tawaya Madras na hayeng matang chahi tawaya dina simultaneously held the census ne aduna comparable way the data siang mane. Aduna Government of India na Lord Riponorongane in Ningsang Bada 1881 the Gineba continuously every year every 10th year the synchronic census ki exercise ho race. Si head count ni sigi first independent Indiana independent oiraba matunga ihana na tawa census na 1951 akoy na ngasi NRC 51 sigi problems ni. So census sa hana kaino hai karga di cham na public na gyan tadwe nugo mayam sawi go nugo si learning ngakte na khangbirang ni se miyam na khangdabadong na tawriba. Census haijade supposing imung amda mi mari leram kanda ina house dugi yenga kanda nupa chahi humpuni toy nupi chahi nifu nipan nupa chahi kuntra mathoy nupi chahi trama ngai na sumaina person dugi basic information khara lauraga chatpane head count ne. That is census. Madu khangda dana ne ba kangbu na census ta yumpham moiraga NRC to wangang ladies because they don't understand what is the difference between NRC and census data. And NRC to rok pakisgida NRC sin ngasai hariba 62 years kan mai ni NRC san kandata se. Tourism yaima 62 years old. If Imphal they be 48 years old and my mumming matha yaura aneba nangi adu list. That's the difference. Sigi implication si nang ojit NRC tauba Assam da tauri bana jage NRI si tau matam da si changa kadoine. You cannot use census data. Aigi ipune 58 years old nupa ina pali do haya gadra bai hai. But yaima tourism yaima do aigi idho pokpane haibadi ar kaneba mumming matha yaura mina. That's the reference point. Census the yaw the census the uniform NRC to them that they don't understand what is NRC and what is census data. Census data that the particular detail of the individual person say yaw roevo. Maving matha yaw roevo. So you can't use it as a reference point. NRC to Ganda. NRC is in 1951. This is one of the greatest mystery in my life. Mina ngangwe sum chatpa isu. Academic literature the widely circulate over. For example, Aristotle na zoon politikon, political animal as fossil social animal in Tamaini, NCRT, Larry Goigera, PhD, Larry Goigera, political science electors, so don't social and never. Aristotle political, I am with the social animal and Halain, meaning I'm Kenagazani. Widely don't use the Kada they show they notice a look on the Thomas Aquinas land translator zoon political to the man social and political and Hapsel and by one translator Kanda. It's only in 13th century. I don't know widely circulate we are so is dum label. Who is mean for the NRC get do than Halamanchina, a Kangaising and Nangudo area and a term in the 20 year whatever. And the dum chumabusum chakibus in the corner and the Kiana. Kitang intensive in a young Bahor Kanda never in a gantare. I'm sitting hanging my harem is the Lalena, City Yaudena, City Todena. Aduna, NRC got chances that are in Heiser Gipsia, Masimatang and Simatang San Panja, who say, first independent Pangaba Matunda. Census Tower say, no emotional and cannot talk. First time independent India is the kind of leaders in enumerators in the Chitigatai. Raja Gopalchari was the home minister. He sent out a message to all the enumerators in the country. Independent India census tawdorini. Asi tawkans the partition thokpagi mi hongdok hongdin sida leramba Muslim ason chakhiba sonda leramba mahalakpa Muslim marak tu mayam na hongraga mana upadai dis leuni leuba. Sigi confusion marak sida there was a felt need to map out simultaneously citizen kanano magi lisama same se na nit amadagi tholakhiba pot nebe NRC 1951 census su tawringai sida sisu asai partition gi mi leng thok leng sina ko citizen skill list amata semau si ena tawrakpada tawhiba exercise nebe masigi NRC the greatest mystery is this. All India you the intended or the Sumasa. Assam cooked the Tauhi, but only information when a labels it. According to NRC 1951, the Yumpam, we don't know, say, we have a huge question. NRC 1951 Manipur gi laiti haibagi pot asobam to labels it. And Tizalur Khan, the all India you in the storm driver, intention delay. Tauhi dev. That's the source I have. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any researchers find it out, please inform me. Aina Tizanjaru but the delay. Interestingly, 1951 gi message pirak pasisam Gopalchari gi message the yaw deve NRC. Whereas Chief Minister Medhi gi the yaw deve NRC. Assam gi matam da CM oirambaduna mana irakpa chithi dadi enumerations na ibda with a sense of pride. NRC su simultaneously tawduine se palleba aduga India gi home minister na census ki tharakpa magi message dadi yaudeba masigi kenos NRC se pandeba mana. So tawgide lai haibasigi achauba isum lai dubu major chunk of the information akhoi husik phangiba posida NRC 1951 Manipur laiti asineba. Mase laiti haiba is like a ghost document. Laiti hai duga kadai da laigi se koi gyan tade. So whenever you ask people, officers, without wanting them to mention their name, Home Ministry ki karidagi ay sum thiragi yengbadasu it was not conducted anywhere in the country except Assam. Karigi no sinem. Assam ko to tawgre. Adi ako ni NRC Manipur lay siya. Sige second amuna ako na kaugi bani public memory are very short. So that champo de may hog na tawbe 2015 da ay ko gihanagi aim sugi su leader weramba adu si TV da su public sphere da yam na kana actively dum lay bani ko han lehok thabam chanda ani bungo na RTIM tha bani Karigino da Manipur's People's Protection Act ki da Manipur people se define ta the NRC 51 da yaw na palleba. Ek to pass da man RTI thare Home Department. NRC Manipur 1951 se labran. The answer by the Home Department is that they don't have this data. Moina do the Census Directorate na pairong ngani na thare. Then census ki Directorate of Census Operation na amuk kari I said 2015 ki October ki wari niko. Moina irakpa wahidu sa amuk jeng biyoba. It's very informative. Answer kay piraki jeng biyo Census ki Directorate of Census Operation ki answer da. The office is not aware of the authority which prepared the 1951 NRC. Hence, the information sought for is not available with this office. Home the Sulaite, Census Directorate Sulaite. When you look at it, all India, the Assam Kukung Togi impressions, most of the document I know that do not do we. Home Minister na TARAGADI podasu yaude. Then we ask, kay do boy na koy na laylay hay sa ani thong na yeng ba yay? Layram maga mangan giba ma? Natraga tawgi da ba ma? Either way, hujikti layti na laylay. Officially, RTI answers layti. Ado di NRIC 1951 the Imphal moy daga foreigner illegal khando kadan men lawri ba koy sikari da nganga mina ba nange. Adusu Manipur da lairiba TV da active oiba mi amana 2015 the RTI tharaga I spoke kaudri. It was even published in national papers. RTI shocker in laigidre khelen thoksam na su file to story ma laying 17 October the telegraph ka yaw 16 the lang laiti hai later the 2015 dagina 2025 je chahi tarani 10 years I decided what are we Mazer oigera NRC oigram karai dono khoi nang na recess NRC 1951 the Imphal oigadam ni oibini haga laiti ase ngasi ngarang wa nate 2015 the RTI ge result thola khrabaga akhoi na kari na bu su ngangis laira kana puthoro kana na toraga silai rem puthoro na adu hujung mo puthora sarkar na laite hare sigi document mayam lairiba sigi census ki 1951 ki report se so aina tire yeng mane contradictory oiba post tholai form 19000 is distribute tawge na sum yaw le mi report amdana census slip haibu waham season mo na amana NRC form aina ada Manipur ki kala makha da su 19000 form yen thoki aina um taw yaw le kari haino. So the important question in Ngasi miyam amang the thamjare si NRC 1951 say as far as the available information, including the RTI in 2015, the THAGIBA RTI dugi result kai haige the NRC 1951 Manipur laiti hayaba. Ay happen jing kay no the matam the Superintendent of Census Operation haise. Sige nupa magi wagi wali ahab nupa sa asima na sige position ji superintendent ki position ji pirak tira man se commissioner in there mane bakeno the kasarda 51 gi mana pai mai makha da Tripura su Manipur su yawe ba ain khale ba dudi magi makha da same authority makha da conduct obuni separate orga su punjan na office amagi makha da tawrak panina confusion chali jala NRC asang ko tang tawgadab du da ngasai gi same superintendent of census operation akoi gi separate leram de aina khangjaba da Hawai Bam Ranbir Singh akoi an ma lerami mana first director of Maming Zong the superintendent of census operation Hydre. Directorate of census operation 1971 kakta the neko yade lady. Adugi mamang the Assam office ki makha da dum tawe census. Aduna confusion se Assam da tawdu the same office tawdu the confusion chatna tawri bra haibagi question amma delay. There are some confusions. But the dominant information, there is no NRC Manipur 1951. And the first public knowledge RTI in 2015. Manipur da thagiba RTI. Manipur masana khabar da su fongiba national paper su fongiba. Adu fong ghost document ki type ta 1951 NRC da tawrisi di akoi se kari tarage non-existent document amada exist awi type ta ngang laiba gi mongam tareba. So the first question ngasi ge confusion je solve tawge di mayam ain haijar no thamjani bo pham di is there a document called NRC 1951 Manipur ai na tawjarakpa study sida di there is no NRC 1951, including example, this okay, and Lawai Kamam Sarat na Thagiba RTI result to them. Then all these documents that I have read, only Assam Kukta the Tawagi indications, so that is the first thing. Simultaneous Tawgibagi mix up Tawguna confusion chat rise. Terms you use over the Mayam hang research with the Pabi so census slip Ivany. Amana NRC form high. And it's a kind of sule. Adu daina ti bane badu gil through the sumo. So that's the first thing. Now, ngasai aina haiba statutory oida e haiduna ngasai 2003 day oida abdina. Magi adu the contingent oiba rule lama sumuk seme bagame na. Adu ki rule 2003 ni adu su. Adu ki makha da thulak padana kariyamu oida hai kanda na. NRC tawdri ngaida. Census ka sago na ba oina haugi ba haugade but independent of census su tawya ba process ama introduce tawre ba moina in 2010 da practically tawre introduced tawna 2003 da and that category that exercise is called National Population Register. Census tu dagi kitang henjan bay wani ngasai gi maming matha hapsalat sigi National Population Register sinana. Masagi sahi yang kay nipan adu 62 in hybrid. Adu na ta maming na tayo ane. Sige records na kari kauge da National Population Register. 2003 ki amendment hai se kai hai ge da NRC tauna na ba hana hujiki National Population Register se same ga da bane. National Population Register ka census ka ungkai khena ra census ta maming matha yaw da do nang gi no se da yoksala ane ba NPR de maming matha lo yaw ra ne ba adugi against the NRIC hariba posa scrutinize and verify. These are the two words used in that order. Ainga sa hadi concept and scenery ba wahi se karinas against the National Population Register. NRIC say established verify and scrutinize. The NPR has to be verified and scrutinized. Sigi posine ba koina 2003 da set up tawra leire the National Population Register sida su foreigner census ka samane census asu nang aina sangu ba yum du da leire ma midugi makok thiba khaktani ahum thokna lei adu su moina institutional head count and hospital da leiba mi thiba adu thiba amana household le thirakpa amana mapanu hongi ba khoki bagi chakpagi du main thiba main tawne the National Population Register is the same badang asai census the maming mathai hon bai wane ba adu ma se foreigner ni adu ni illegal kaim khai bi aro adu chapman census chapman citizen gi doine NPR citizen gi ne ba adu amuk verify tawra kanda da ne citizenship ki question na hong jalai se so in short census ko baga National Population Register ga the foreigner ni citizen ni nati haibagi question se yaw deba later mami the masing tivani census na adu mami matha kitang detail ha pa ka namu mapau to na National Population Register kawi that was introduced in 2003 amendment and practice implement over na 2010 it was verified updated in 2015 ani ra khata ngai re ba du gisa so Manipur gi sigi NPR se le rong ane bo 2010 amsung updated in 15 sisu mu Manipur gi State of Affairs the document of fajana library le tam su khang de bai adu nationality it is from the Home Ministry digi kai de yeng badadi the National Population Register was prepared in 2010 and updated in 2015 as per the amendment in 2003 to the Citizenship Act of 1955 is a clear reported is there in police in government official record Manipur the NPR line baduna hojik Logi matung na NRC torko the high river population do verify to bong changbai wane banang citizen na tabrai so that is NRC ga NPR ga mari laina bane this is how the law is now last 2 points I never select the hygiene sigi trajectory sigi matung ina Akoina hojik Assam da handak thengnai sigi wari se kadai de la ki ge da mogi di go back foreigner agitation nam lei akoi da su lei adu da su season nei aim sugar share to da su NRC 1951 is one of the condition adu da base o dong ni hai anang ram su Manipur da nang nei ba base year 1951 census sai the census that you can't base to distinguish foreigners ang sai du ni census sai sin kaino census ki data de maming matha yaw ponte sigi sin clarity se kai la ka Assam dan to is karino moi gi achi ki trajectory sigi moi gi go back foreigner se tawman the IMDT a kaina mal han leram illegal immigrant detection kanogi ek amal izaram Assam specific asu ya ning ki de di so Sarvanand Sonowal na Asugi president on the case some filed. He said this law is unconstitutional. Why? Because it is against Article 14 equality before law because Foreigners Act 1946 matung inadi the onus of proving that one is not an illegal immigrant sir I say foreigner te illegal immigrant not sir I want the accused already I in the labor the honest I have to prove that I am not a foreigner I am not an illegal immigrant but I am the act the accused or even me the do in the proof of them no honest said on the pisal labor other than never Sorvan and Sonawana case to whenever this is equality before law 1946 foreigners accused against the lady the onus should be on the person, not on the accused person. Authority na nang se foreigner ne had the authority has to prove that you are a foreigner. IMDT act de. Adu han existing law the laisna the person has to prove that he is not. Aduna struck down by Supreme Court. I still remember I had gone there. That time he was AZP Parliament. South Avenue dai chalu unare. Congratulations to matangda. Dugi matungda Supreme Court na kai hairake da Foreigners Act 1946 moi Assam da sanagadam ne na pirakpane. Adagi tholakhiba dagi ngasai gi 2003 gi rule do 2003 gi amendment duga adugi corresponding rule da amuk amend taw ba hanaki se taw yana ba Supreme Court instruction pirakpadagi amend tawga Assam gi specific ra hapsa leba ngasai gi the general du di NPR semaga NPR da verify tawga NRC semai kakane bahana general rule across the country. That amendment was supported by Congress as well. Advanina introduced ovani Aduga, it was unanimously passed. Aduda na ina, Congress, BJP, animang na yagraba po neba. NRC siyamba isi. Adugi process ti NPR hana siyamaga, adugi against, verify taugada siyamak po duneba. Since general rule, sinam ngati ba, na Assam na tauri sinam. Moine specific to Assam da tauraga, moine amendment kara mo hapsa leba, hariba rule 2003 da su, kari da su. Aduga generally, mayam na siya na kamul ko, general framework din ako pumaroon sa sayo mo, mayam siya obili makata apil. Sige po sila moina, paper tara mari mapiwe, a list for example. Hai ba document sa nang putora kadam ne nang citizen ne hai gede. 14 number 1 a list ne yais. Adu man say for example nang metric certificate oi be yai, passport oi be yai, voter ID oi be any one document putora nang citizen ne hai ani ne low ne. 14. But there is a condition. Rider am yauri. 14 period di manung the first two say. Sina NRC 1951 mo gidi tawgi hariba Portugal. Electoral roll. 1971 gi Mars ki kumanga gi mamang dalay ba any electoral roll am danang inaming yawraba. Natraga nangi napana pui maming yawraba haiba ma condition am PA. Adiki nang naputok ka ba documents in the su 1971 March 25 ki mamangi port oy gada bane. Try example and supposing I Indian passport, one of the document in the 14th, 1969 that I am a pirate. Now can I say that I am a citizen and Assam minena? No. 14 the passport 1971 ki March ki kumanga de oiba port in the pirate su. Ma Indian citizen ha yaro. 71 March kumanga mamang do su kari ki. Legacy data ka weba ngasai first two. Hai ba tara mari du ki trying thoi malok thok pa ara ani dum thambiaw ro. Trying thoi du ki any documents sunang na kai gumba 71 ki March ki matung adi sanadre adu ko mamang do oira su that is not sufficient. Akoi mathematical logic thaga sufficient necessary and sufficient condition adu. It's not sufficient. Karige nangi naming sa 1971 mamang da laiba electoral roll natraga NRC 1951 gi list nang gi ancestor magim nang maming yawa do check to gi nang adu proof to godal ne ai gi idau bu pokpani ima bu pokpani haigra adu gi pot se yaw de ga din nang 1971 mamang gi metric certificate oigera passport paigera nang yar oigo citizen ne Assam da to is masai general Indian rule de gi on Canada inina NPR khakten am ai verify to wai ne City specific exercise Supreme Court pirak panew. Ano mo ida ako'y na do the season of a term doon iba cut off or base year haise 1951 kato na diba sina legacy data haise NRC 1951 da napana puri maming yawba ma nasagi naming yawba ma natraga na any electoral roll before 1971 March 25 ki mamang da maming yawba ma adu gi du link hek to dri di nangi document puthar biometric ki oigera passport oigera voter card oigera India ki passport oigera 71 mamang oiraga su yadeba sigi sineba koina legacy data is there are two legacy data electoral roll 1971 mamang nataga NRC 1951 Sigi processing. Mapande hongjala ko so atopadagi nang adugi mind list B gain piri adai purakadam. So this is the process they have implemented in Assam. Sigi posilerga problem mayam to eh. Akhomia speaker lak ani mugyawe 1.9 diman. So there are a lot of issues came up. India gumba illiterate or literacy wang the ba like the ba poor people the document command maintain to no koto na bagi concern number lak na NRC is in a third point ko magi basic reservation about NRC India level must say ko na demand to matamda ai gi wall kata leba ai gi wall se katang thang na ba yaro ba mi masak khang ma mathok tai ba ina ngang ba America se kaino mo ni sir my interest kaino I know khannaba community sige moi interest kaino moi nature kaino khangna wari sanaba ai strategize we are so India hai but like paksida especially among the educated elites bureaucrats and political class the NRC is a reservation masama leba masa hai da bi acho hai bi karamba reservation no India is the poor state ni literacy rate pick up in 1951 guide the kadai the kisileram do no kaibagi document kari karamayam sigi issue ma raised away. So poor people will end up being a stateless person. Haibagi concern lebenina there is a reservation. Adu gumba community adu gumbagi mahol adu gumbagi ambience ne bakoi NRC ta odabanen talise. Adu di magi makok to yaw do tugaina bani ai nanak chithi bedana. Assam the Soyibudu the Gichumtoga judicious manner Ratauraga NRC Tau Hibernate. Engaging with the people never. Kayino the Assam the Soyre that literacy wali college document condition mamji, Sanabaro and hence NRC should not be done in a labor position door. I the NRC to on the Pama Minina. Ma engaged of the other Nenke High. Assam the Soyama ma'am, the Sumtoaga, English one ni Amasu. Judicious I demand the victimized of Naba. Judicious process Ama the Tauraga, NRC Tau Hibernever. Engagement. Sukang Kang Napodi, Nawa Log de no Indiana Nangba, no Tovana, NRC Tau 51 the Togam in Law. Document lives on the when a demand of missing the resistance in the Karile, say, come on engage of one is a Sukang Kang with the Quadum Tower. Aduna nainai what learn lessons from Assam adu shoi hian nang NRC already torkono because it is mandated by law statutory oiram no 2003 gi rule yaw le bani. It is the responsibility of the Indian state to distinguish foreigners from us. You need to deport, which is an obligation imposed on the Indian state by law of India, by the Constitution of India, by the law enacted by Indian Parliament. Ain haijan manati India ki state na taw na leijara wan edu taw haibani adu noi na asoy ngam leire na Assam do soire na tawro ye di torkanu haibani so engagement ko kari ngang oi man ngang is na man resistance ka dom da tholakani adu khangani handa ina mi sadi ibu matamda as mandated by 2003 ki law judicious tawraga NRC taw haire na resistance engage taw ine akoi da di Guha manung le bita to balls ngang is kaino mine khoi de kamai yeng sukang khang da bita to wi phimam to gangbum siauri ko khoi aduna ni resistance am thole bam sise illiteracy am literacy name ba poor people le ba side kadai de gi documentation no hai ba sa now masa 2015 gi Manipur gi ek pala akhoi gi assembly na pass to matam do amuka sanga ga yeng biyo ba Manipur khakta de yeng man taba pichibi na khoi maram da kari ngang na ge national paper da kari gi ge ani yeng bi oba 2015 da swaida sum nai man taba national paper da na ta international media da khoi gi maram na matung crisis ka gi da same argument was put that time also tribal society ni literacy ni kadai gi poor people na documentation leiram do no haibagi arguments ha matam du da dum igram ne mapan gi mi ger gi ma'am now do we need to engage with that idea yes if we want NRC and judicious way the kadai the kari stage tawraga tawyan in hot ka damni aduna asoi ba lei literacy wale harga nang leta document suroi na tawdabadi yaroi kari yaroi government of India ne ek tawba man nang oblige tawram it's a legal responsibility for you to do that. So NRC must be done. NRIC must be prepared. Sigi positions legal and aduga masigisi yawbagi engagement je mina kari khale se khoi khang de bida pangang bagi phibam se khoi tawi ai ngasai mamang li je many issues da informed discourse among da ba mi ga kamaina engage aduna ne khoi misang leitri se second handaki matang se ne ngai ta ba Maruina Maite 2001 the smart divide and rule se kamaina pharaga thugai de akhoi de yekna banai khoi se divide and roga sekaina handore se handak ti ikhong thong na songsala khoi deeply polarized over societies community amaga akhoi de sungai amana su rapist community adage illegal immigration refugee na sigi torkanda sabana sana segai gi se I see this change this time. Maruina Maite da smart oin hana thingam bane basis 2001 da tawgi deba we were very careful kamai to na khut thona loi dage kamai to na thinga da ges but this time we got trapped adugi potu dai da illegal immigrant haibugi meaning say entire community amagi type the perception ama thuanre. Aduna it helps those people who want to destroy Manipur and play divide and rule game. Resist of the madu khangak padagi neba in a heck over aina Jantar Mantar the Delhi da. I do not blame the entire Kuki as a community. Blame their elites and their divisive politics and hide. Hansan matum high, vote karamatum the suhai. Kaino the divided roots, much of the powder, the Masiaro, separate or Segina Grandi, Abmanjan, the young water is it. That's what now we are. Ma'am Changu. Complete polarization of society, split all the way to community level. The conflict talk we say, organization anima talk we state level, the political class the talk we. I do not have we are divided in bureaucracy, we are divided in society, we are divided in community, even personal relationships. That's the division that we have seen this time. Sikana we kang the bag don't lay shikari in over Hai roga cookie naga to enamu, asongi missing mating punction later, tabak dog the navine. That division has never seen this division, right from political class, bureaucracy splitted, community splitted, society splitted, and down to personal relationship. The Baba, very personal relationship are surviving today. Sikanana pami, sige division cha. Kana which the benefit from the those who want to destroy Manipur. Tarangahum those kangbo no I bolya hasin. I am a Meitei, I am a Manipuri. And I'm a professor, I'm your representative. Separate administration, hek haurak padagi taurak pada, separation day. Why you should celebrate? I have been asking this. Just as I said, do not blame the Kuki as a community. Blame their elites and their divisive politics. Gandhi ke example, Mahatma Gandhi once said, we are fighting against the British rule over us, not against the British people. British ki sasan mayok tane koi na fight to. You know, British ki mayam the anti changmanati at the mina. That is the lesson. Lari kitam tamjaru bagi ne aina jantar mantada mama panik ching to over jang ngang with the yaw dialogue tane. Don't blame the Kuki's entire community. Blame their elites and their divisive politics. Political context of illegal immigration, NRC, because of this vitiated the resistance, some told Ebang Magi Mahol say. Lying but the operation of the hospital, the doctors say, Haide Hirakanda, Ngasi environments, more boy with an infection is answer one with type to name. The environment within which the NRC, which must be conducted, highly can grave. Sensitive tamam boy san grave. Ngasa factual gid nataba. You complicate the issues. Adugi context na ina. Mamang the sanga kibasin do ng illegal immigrant ni highway aroy Kenyan constitution la matung da ni hais. Sige port mayam se akoy da sige context amasu khangma sangi akoy na aduna tan mamasin da sige challenge samalay. Now the last part of my presentation is what is the way forward? How should we go about it? Aina say hijagedani NRIC foreigner amasung illegal immigration khandu aga deport waisa. This is an obligation on Indian state by Indian Constitution and the laws enacted by the Parliament of India. It's there. Now, second, I could be specific need labor. Porous border oiba, unsettled oiba states the influx sangakpagi posa. It's a fact. Magi extensive kayam lagi dudi koi. It's debatable. I don't have the data, but the fact is sang ACD yane. Luri di amukai dawe. Kangbu manasigi changai ibisi justify to usi yauri. Sakchu manabani same ethnic ne koi kisigi international boundaries kadawe accept of doino na. Ngang mami magi quotation aina amitsa ibisi yaw never. It's quoted from an article in Where. An educationist in Churachandpuna. Hi. Ako magta bamade milene kadu wile luido. Sakchu manaba. Adu karan thapar ga yena givedo from 29 minutes adai dagi yang 40 hogam. The way I was arguing with mana indigenous ni adu ni da ga ina se hanjan insist of the mana few thousands katane nang hai du changam da ina you think it's few thousands, and some people said it could be in thousands and thousands. Man, how keep what makes you believe how keep more than the others? Adu matangda ina ngang the mon da haibani nang Bengali lo na mo pusala ke haibra, Punjabi lo pusala ke haibra, ethnicity mana yana. There are Bengalis in Bangladesh, there are Punjabis in Punjab, there are Tamils in Sri Lanka. Simply because you have ethnicity similar na pusala da, to that need to distinguish citizens from non-citizens. Karan thapra ki so ngang mani. Adu di plethora of interviews in national media ngang say call it by any other name. Ain hari sigan de NRC dang sai reservation le do khang mani na ina. Call it by any other name, but we need to distinguish citizens from non-citizens. Adu ki process am tau ta say. Interviews after interviews, adu sukang khang da bedai sida khara political class khara ne paisa khara pijara ga mo ye sebo khara thado ga confusion je chatlang dana ozami mo nganang han ngang poi type is there in sai ge pot ma am je khanga ga season ga da bo wai je kaino divide and rule je kamai that ka ni adu ita the context ka maina sagat la ga kadai da kari ngai je khalla ngai including that letter I wrote to Amitsa. Aduna, I coin the basic question the way forward and I say we must demand. Kaino the I the village ki hengalakpagi karigi population ki dynamic then directly manipulated overnight 2001-2011 census to iduni. Adusu I na kangman hang actually professor ni IIT amana Azim Premjida Manipur Sante moini beso ina quote Moina haiduni electoral gi delimitation gi angka holaga sit hengan ba manipulate na. So we have a problem. Asi khala kandani aina sikari ka taw me the delimitation the census ka song te lepi wise. Census city foreigner gi yaw sum hana shu du ngani. All the census data you have before madudai the foreigners yaw ngani yaw der shong ngani. Because census doesn't look into that. Usual residents and tigidoni aduna hojik thizal rodi mitomian cha yaw sang ngani ga practically census cannot distinguish who is a citizen who is not. It's not rest on that. Hana lebe census data jo du ngakani. Now, akoigi nuna NRC si tawbo matamda akoi na hojik luri se base year line has the confusion chatpa anim lare. Now, what is the thing? Assam dagi koi kitang lesson tamaga ka yeng yai da NRC 1951 laitre hare hojik. Adu dekho na census the base that meaning to ibra talk that because census data cannot be the basis for identification of foreigner because census itself census tawbo matamda nang foreigners yon umchijan doini. Chikang the Bumina never was 1951 census, the BS, don't ngang su yaw never. Because they don't understand. Census that I think I know, NRC, I know, NPR, you can't have a base like that. So, other Nangi Assam the never. NRC 51 the later, that is one base. Other Nangi ancestral of the Yawban Chiu and Highway. Then, second, electoral roll. But election karai toki, akoida. Manipur Constitution Act 1947 makada electoral adu susina jeng kangmungai. What was the problem? Is a huge problem. Indian Constitution law matungi electoral roll oibra madu mamang oibra is the Constitution of Manipur 1947 accepted by Indian Constitution. Lawyer me am yawi yung tahang biyo. Ngan TV daga sungang kalay. 1948 ki electoral roll susina gadom ni haide. How many of the lawyers here thinks that Indian Constitution will accept an electoral roll prepared under Constitution of Manipur Act 1947. Akoigi Constitution la matungi wari ni sige citizen non-citizen ngangai namsina. Constitution ni mamang the laksengi 50 mamang eba 48 ki nangi electoral roll sina kadam ni nangkamum tawrei. Now if you said that 48 ki to accept au hairak padi kai tare. Adu accept already. If the government of India accepts 1948 electoral roll, state assembly that means government of India is acknowledging Manipur Constitution Act 1947. That is pre-major status. That government of India has accepted pre-major status. Adu egana phone na tan birodana. 48 ki electoral roll do chana jahare gade. You should boldly say, pre-major pami ayiro. Adu so hide. electoral roll, 1948. What is the legal status of that electoral roll for you to do NRIC in India under Indian Constitution? See, inform. So what is the option we have? Legacy data se koi kai hoige dege. Either you resolve NRC 1951 day late enta bugi magi legality to tawro puthora su jiga mena late issue like it's a huge problem. Later maga de puthokiro. Adu later then laura se usik like status late hairamnina. Then what is our option? Then my suggestion would be that 1952 electoral roll, the first Lok Sabha election. Risanka Singh hoina phamgiba 1952 first Lok Sabha aina huju oisina 18 Lok Sabha ni. First Lok Sabha election 1952 tabugi electoral roll which is under Indian Constitution semak pani. Adugi electoral roll could be one of our legacy data, but it cannot be out 1951 the oiroidana. That's the issue. So one option. Legacy data Assam be happy equivalent some logate. We have 1952 electoral rolls. Maybe then we also have 1957. You know the 1951 that the hatu the quote khara data other lekuna layena argue so we can set at 57 because population growth bak laka Bama the get is a post 60s unsettlement. So what is the best option Haibani? Practical best option legacy data is the 52 gi electoral roll and 57 gi electoral roll. Second Lok Sabha and first Lok Sabha election gi electoral roll. Village director to Zaxta post or can the village director the mummy maming yaroy. But highly beduna legacy data am semba. Adugi the makta show specific amendment among Changania Sangas minor kind of the general NRIC of the Sigi legacy that I question. That's one option we have. Now, there is a separate thing that we have never talked properly. Foreigner khandokta badi. Foreigners eki makha da executive action disina laura suya police na laura suya ba. Singnaraga dinang proof taw du tawin. Natragana Foreigners Act 1946 makha da foreigners tribunal na semaga dictate tawai power is given to detect, detain and deport. 3 Ds. Under Foreigners Act 1946 and later there are 4 laws. Passport law and Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025 1st September Act 1 given 2025. Adugi makha tribunal hangaga foreigner say the case pusalaga they were honest of proving whether they are not nangi organization ki ex work to Brahma dagi lakpani MP or megado if you have a tribunal drag him out and put it in the tribunal. This scene masigi village unnatural growth Malaysia foreigner let them prove themselves that they are not foreigners. Tribunal must set up the way which is independent of NRC. Adugi power to sue state the peak rabani. So, if the NRC marak problem, if you really wanted to crack down on some of the villages, unnatural growth, or suspect the tribunals, they can be detect, detain, and deport. And it is a judicious process. NRC tribunal foreigner he can still appeal to that. So it's a judicious, legal, due process, So you can use this. Asukui basida, Masumbagi, Hanadagi, 46 ki foreigners act tribunal and say, I want the Handaki home minister, no Pangakudanate, Madugi, Mamang the Sushi foreigners exida, government ki powers, central government is set up on PFC. Siki Ponam, the foreigner dance illegal. You should have used these existing laws. Matam to the Foreigners Act, Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025, establish foreigners tribunals. Aduga detect or adum tawyaraba po never say. Adu tawhagadi aina amisada ibiti last law and order sana maintain tawdana, kamay implement tawgan. So what is the core issue? Core issue is state legitimacy like split or Manipur police. I know information. Mayam shock sat kan Manipur police ke status se kari noise. Mogi manpower, mogi equipment, mogi moral, mogi karamaina operate tawris. We are destroyed. Sida information just processes that is why I have demanded that Foreigners Tribunal under Immigration and Foreigners Act you start dictating and detain and deport foreigners. In any case, Assam the Sunangi NRC the hold of tribunal the sumumay scope and period to appeal themselves. So why don't you start a Foreigners Tribunal under Immigration and Foreigners Act? The power has been transferred to the state. The problem is Manipur police is in a shamble. Your law and order is not in your hand properly. We are in a chaotic condition. How will you impose this? Waiver definition of state. State is a community that claims the monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force within a given territory. Unquote. That was what Weber defines. Nang adugi authority to claim to bungamdrabi state na musikti. That's why armed peoples are moving around everywhere. Chaotic go bisis nang nagsige tribunal sa makanan sa laga case to bakanan pura ko. You need to revamp aduna naina amisai with in order to do all these things. Illegal armed groups operate rein in this violence and control them. Law and order is established the priority to historical process na karino haiba mayam sa koi mun na nainara kanda to changi adu nataveda pagang dangang na raga koi ngasai impoverished basa masa I think ngasi amana sinbiri say man waro we no kitang sang na ngang ko because there's a lot of confusions asing ngang ho raga di haring ni amung yesel kan yam ye di the frustration grak na tap time sabat pa siya ore kan kani nga ka do mi ngang di TV the toli pairing ngang jal chaki ayo na nga obo tabi type no chaklak pa sumihan siya ore mum. And I'm so thankful to Amba Learned Council loge mag the pajna khang biram mayam na please correct our society. You should be the flag bearer. Si soire si sini statutory ni sina nonsense ni option sila nga sa haise. This is the way forward for us. This is a politics story. The politics story is your mind Congress and higher point in the facts the muyeng view. Between UPA 1 and 2, 2004 dagina 2014 Modi lakringagi chahi tarada, more than 80,000 illegal immigrants were deported to their respective countries. 80,000 plus people under UPA government. NRC between 2014 and 2024, barely 5,000. NRC say politics ni polarized to nanda mga khanar never say. TOUBA yaro so manung de yaram I have that Lok Sabha's answer. No ida tawna na ba libran ay nahang nate atopa kano na hang bada. Lok Sabha ki question yaw mayam TV say ay sigudi yawri ko. So I can pazar kasi kang kaya doon naman na basic Gibson kadai the secretary yaro graba anyway today the question doesn't arise and am yaw any declarative deciding anyway yaram desida I'm fine yaram do man Lok Sabha da kumakram ne se laite na Government of India has no plan to conduct NRC across the country. Lok Sabha da hang ini mina hang da kumakram ne. Macam na NRC na sin Foreigners Tribunal sama tau yar me bapo ni tau hidrabani. Tau gen khaladi. Practical when adu di CD 50 to 57 ka torga consensus ma manar kan da pressure to mina ni punna adu na tabida chin da sumpanga ngang ba lan ngang na ga to sa si ong tang tol bam changi mathum rang khang da mina public spare pile di yaro adu na khoi oza guru lebi ma mayam na khar ka changjan be ga na miyam na ta ga do mi di lebi ba lawyer sing oza pramananda hoi sliba khoi oza na moi ta ga da bali moi na ngang ta ga da bali ang masado na pangangamba 48 kido na tawyani hay karay the legal status na karino NRC ay sin karino census data ay kaino baseline ito 51 oidong niya kay na census no oidong niya high base census na baseline kumay oidong no ay na data ay nesa duganta. This is the confusion as I have seen this in my state as someone who have worked in academic field for so long. I quite na ill-informed about what jam na ngasay long pizza me duni about Hinduism disappearance of Maitay Mayek. Luckily naha hujik thole chahi mangai mung dai interview piba YouTube tam lai bani che na angang YouTube ramda mo nai hai game ni e chanda kiti matam da nung yung ami mai te me kamai muli no print culture tholak pone na ado luckily ai ngang han ikoi da a trained historian young chap moi noi puthore evidence si kadai de no sin mai te me kai muli hai doi no so yaroi akhoi na soi ge bi ai akhoi di aham da kege ni unate ai laitaba mark sang Delhi le roge sumayam tana ba moi ge ba ni unate bu tholak kheni hose angang hawalai ba 20s and 30s a train tol ba sing si di u aseng ngak ni akhoi mo roi ai ngasi changchan jari ba lambi sa moi di ai gi chahi jor ka dia a yaw rani international thak ta sakrani no oi da bangang ba ki matam kui roi but akhoi da di sum ma talent oi ba angang sing si chap ga moi space nei te Kambum na dum nga dagi hero dum taraga chume 1948 ki electoral da tawdam ni 1951 census na base oi dam ne intelligible oi da ba yar da wa ai na ngang ba government da hasin ai ngasai suggest of the way forward if we want to do NRC amend this 2003 legacy data legitimate and function 52 ke electoral roll and probably hatu to the board the second option be either 57 and 52 electoral route can be used as a legacy data. See not with the NRC, should not with the Foreign Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025 MAKHA, the tribunal Tauraga, so and so organization is a foreigner, Nihai Sigi Kunji foreigner Mali, having do. Please bring them to that tribunal so that we can detect, detain, and deport illegal immigrants. That can be done. For that, you need to have a political will and understanding. This is another step to achieve our goal of to deport illegal immigrants from Manipur. Natraga de ingasan resource in chasan badana political right focus olakani. Asigi awareness se lairakan akoi punna thabuk tongmina se amba amsu mazamaya nasu guide to view. Natraga de aina ngang boding maksu gospel nate ngasi ngang himam sidasu research ne every truth is a tentative truth. Matam kuina baba light has only a wave property in Leramani. Only Einstein comes and said that it has a particle property. Science ki nature ni hypothetical deductive methodizing. As long as the evidence back up a particular idea, it's sustained. Adugi contrary over facts am tholakunda it collapses. Akogi judicial review to gumni court. And there's no ultimate truth. Ay ngang isu gospel truth nate. It's not the final word. Ay na pangjarak pa research to giling asi thameje. Adu mayam su tum season view aduga akoi illegal immigrants amasung foreigners khandok padi yamna mathau tai. Madu natraga di ekhoida mangjaningai yamna lei hairibasi demand to the Indian state aikhoina favor to view haibanate. It is the moral and legal responsibility of the Indian state because they have passed an act like that and it is the nature of the state. Moito hum thokwa thabak ni process suning asai kitang haijai 52 na legacy data ohan be yagadra yaroidra juxtapose with the village ki ekhoigi leiriba data duga coordinator is a cumbersome work ni thabak yam changani sinattabida immediate when action law loibadi staff list foreigners tribunals under Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025 and please pick up some of these problem areas. Use your DC and police officers and concerned executive authorities quasi judicial body ni hosike tribunals so it will be a judicious process and we will have enough ground to defend ourselves. Say haraga. Thank you once more, Amba and